Hi, welcome to Midwest Magic Cleaning. My name is Luke Sky Puncher. I don't put up with skies. I'm not putting up with it. About 8 months ago, I did a video on how to do basic cleaning, and it was intended for mainly college kids who have never really been taught this before. And it was also aimed at people who grew up in hoarder homes or in homes that were really strict, where the mom or the dad just was like, let me do it, and they didn't really teach the kids how to do the process. Since then, that has been seen by just under 3 million people, and about 99% of the comments were people thanking me because nobody's ever laid out the just basics of how to do an everyday clean. And about 1% of them were people who were, for some reason, angry that I put out the video. They were like, so what, we got to have a YouTube video now on how to do basic hygiene? They actually spelled out the herpaderps there. I don't know why that was necessary, but they did. But the comments I wasn't expecting was people asking me how to do basic things that I didn't even think about in that video, like how do you mop? How often do you do this? Is sanitizing this area necessary, or should I skip that part? So I thought it'd be a good idea to do a follow-up video on how to do a maintenance clean, which I think answers all those questions. And I think it's going to put to rest a bunch of myths that people have about cleaning, specifically around sanitization. Now, I understand that there's going to be a lot of people who are like, you're just cleaning an already clean house. And yes, that is correct. This is a maintenance clean. If you want to see like a super dirty house getting cleaned, feel free to watch one of my other 300 videos where I do that. You can see me taking a stove that looks like this and then turning it into something that looks like this. You can see me taking floors that are just completely covered in nastiness and then bringing them back to life again like this one. This video is for people who have done the heavy lifting to get that major clean out of the way, and now they want to just know, how often do I do it and how do I maintain this? So here we go. First things first, if you don't need to clean it, don't. I pulled out my Swiffer duster, and the first thing that I do in any clean is I dust the whole house. But if it doesn't need dusted, don't worry about it. Don't create more work than you need to create. Work smarter, not harder. We're not going to go through the motions just to go through the motions. If it did need to be dusted, that would be the first thing that I did. I'd go through the whole house and dust ceiling fans, TV stands, anything that got like a cat. If a cat had dust on it, I would dust it. Random stray moose that might be in the house. But since we know we don't need to do that step, we're going to skip through it and we're going to jump right into, I think, my favorite part of the whole cleaning process, which is just putting things away and knocking out the dishes. If I had more than one load of dishes, I would run dishwater. But in this case, I'm just going to put some dish soap on a rag, clean them up, rinse them, and put them on the side to dry. And then I'm going to put everything that's on the counters away. That's the simplest thing in the world to do. My suggestion on maintenance clean is to do the dishes every night before you go to bed, because I promise you, when you wake up in the morning and there's no dishes in that sink, it feels really good. It feels like your day is ready to start and you don't have crap on your plate. But the side effect of doing dishes this way is that you already have a rag in your hand that has dish soap on it. So what I do is I rinse about half that dish soap off so it's not all sudsy, and then I use that rag to wipe down countertops just to get any crud that might be on there, little drips and spills, little food crumbs or whatever. That's a good first step to wiping down the counters. Once you do that though, dry it off with either a paper towel or a microfiber, and that will lift off any streaks. It's nothing complex. Wipe it down, dry it off, you're done. Now, I'm going to go a step further, and I'm going to make what I call APC, which is all-purpose cleaner. I'm going to make that with 1/3 of a bottle of isopropyl alcohol. In America, most people have a bottle of this in their medicine cabinet. I'm using 70% strength, and I'm going to fill up 1/3 of the bottle with that. I'm going to add 5 or 6 drops of Dawn dish soap, and then I'm going to fill the rest with water. It won't suds up because the alcohol prevents the soap from making suds. If you don't have rubbing alcohol or you just don't want to use rubbing alcohol, you can mix bleach with water in a ratio of 1 teaspoon of bleach per 1 cup of water. I think this is important for people in countries that aren't the US because I've been told by several people who live in the UK that isopropyl alcohol is not readily available, and when you do find it's extremely expensive. In the US, it's super cheap. Now, if you're looking to sanitize, I would suggest the bleach mixture, because in order to sanitize a counter with alcohol, you would just use straight 70% alcohol, and that's enough to kill germs. There's only 2 places in a house that I really like to sanitize. One is the toilet and bathroom sink. The other one is anywhere that food touches in a kitchen, and I don't do that every day. I do that like once a week, because it's been brought up before in comments that your body has an immune system and it can handle things like that, and that is true. But also bacteria multiplies, and over the course of a week it can get pretty nasty if you're not keeping up with it. So just to be on the safe side, I don't want to eat E. coli, so I sanitize any area that food comes in contact with. And then as I'm doing it, I usually taunt the E. coli and say, "Suck it, E. coli, now you're all gonna die. You're gonna die." And then they start crying. I'm like, "Don't cry, just die, E. coli." And then they do. But I bring that up because the mixture that I'm using is not really a sanitizing spray. It's used to just clean. And I think for the most part, as a daily cleaner, this is perfect. Now, that doesn't mean that I use it daily. I use it whenever the kitchen gets really dirty, or if you're going to go on a schedule, do it once per week. I live alone, and once per week is way more than I need to do. If you have kids or you have multiple people in your household, you may want to do this every few days. And all you do to use this is spray it on, let it set for maybe a half a minute, and then wipe it off. I usually follow that up with either a microfiber, an ultra microfiber, or a paper towel to dry it. And that not only prevents streaks, but it gets anything off of the counter. Like I don't like to have alcohol sitting on a counter for a long period of time. The things you don't want to use this on is wood. For wood, just use dish soap, or even just a damp cloth would be fine. Or a cleaner that's meant for wood like Pledge, Liquid Gold, Old English. Personally, I found that just a damp cloth and then drying it off is totally fine for most wood until you need to polish it. That's a totally other subject. I also wouldn't use this on hand-painted things. So I wouldn't use this on my cabinets because I painted the cabinets myself. Things that have factory paint aren't too bad because they usually have a baked on paint process. But remember, the alcohol's a solvent. So I wouldn't want to use that on things that have varnish or stain or paint. I usually use APC on countertops, sinks, mirrors, anything glass, anything that's hard and shiny that isn't wood. And yes, you can use it on stone countertops. So suck it. Now, this stuff is really, really good for stovetops. You'll want to get the grease off with another type of cleaner. Dish soap is usually pretty good. Since you already have it, you don't have to worry about buying expensive cleaners, and then just follow it up with the APC. You can clean almost all of your house with this stuff. I'm talking like 90% of the things in your house. When you're using it on anything that shines, like glass stovetops, mirrors, bathroom sinks, toilets, make sure you follow it up with a drying cloth. Now, you'll see me using this weird looking shiny blue cloth in this video. That's what they call a glass cloth or an ultra fine microfiber. At some point, I'll be selling those. We're actually working on getting the shop up and running within the next few months, hopefully. But I've never used a cloth that gets rid of streaks as well as an ultra fine microfiber. You'll also see me using that on the bathroom mirror in just a second. So just be patient, man. Just be patient, man. And the same thing with these. Anything that that shines. So all the things that I just listed off, I do those once per week. If you have a bunch of people in your house, again, you may want to do it every couple of days, every few days. But for me, living alone, this will usually hold its shine for about a week before I need to dive in and do it again. Once you get into the habit of doing maintenance cleanings, you'll find that you can clean your entire house in like 30 minutes because you're not focusing on deep cleaning. You're not focusing on cleaning things that don't need to be cleaned. You're just cleaning things that need attention, like stovetops, sink, dishes, your mom, and everything else. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Once I'm done wiping things down, I put the dishes away. And this is important to me because I think that if they're sitting in the dish drainer or in a dishwasher, it adds unnecessary clutter and unnecessary chaos to your house. It just feels good when they're out of sight, out of mind, and inside the cabinets where they belong. After that, I'm going to go to the next room, which I believe is the next most important, and that's the bathroom. The mirrors usually have toothpaste and stuff on them, large butt prints, because I typically like to press my butt against the mirror just to make sure I still can. I'm going to get all that off of there with APC, and then I'm going to use that same APC to do my sinks and the outside of the toilet. If you want to get real rambunctious, you can also use it on tile inside your shower, and then I usually use it just to do a quick wipe down of the bathtub itself. But the bathtub is kind of a different cleaning process, so we're not going to cover that here. But if you do have tile, especially tile that has semi-gloss or heavy gloss on it, APC does a really good job of shining those things back up. Now, I make a lot of cuts in my video, so you won't see me changing out rags, but that's another question I get asked a lot. Do you use the same rag to clean the whole house? And the answer is no. I'll use one to clean all the kitchen stuff up. You maybe use that same rag to clean the trash can, but that will be the last thing I use that rag on, because you don't want to be cleaning the trash can and then go clean your sink with the same rag that you used on the trash can. That's weird and gross. Ooh. When I'm cleaning the bathroom, I'll clean the mirrors and the sinks first and then use that same rag to do the outside of the toilet. Then I won't use that rag again for anything else. I'll switch to another one. In a heavy clean, I will use maybe 10 plus rags. On a hoarder home, I'll use between 50 and 200 because those are special circumstances. You can see those all over my channel. In a maintenance clean, I'll use a minimum of 2, sometimes 3 or 4. Like I used one on the dishes, I used one on the kitchen, and then I used one on the bathroom. Here's something most cleaners don't talk about on cleaning channels, and that is if your toilet is not completely disgusting, you don't need to use any cleaners on the inside of it at all. Just take your toilet brush and brush the inside of it, and 9 times out of 10, you're good to go. I like to sanitize it, again, just because bacteria can build up over time, and I'm controlling the colony by killing off the majority of them. I'm basically committing bactericide. However, if your toilet has a bunch of let's just call it what it is. We're adults here. Poop stains. If you got a bunch of poop stains on the inside of your toilet, use a toilet cleaner that contains bleach. I use Clorox clinging gel bleach because it sticks to the side of the bowl way better. You turn that upside down because the little gooseneck on the top of the bottle is actually meant to be face down so that you can get under the rim of the toilet. Soak that down, close the lid, walk away from it for about, 20 minutes. In really bad cases, walk away from it for like an hour. When you come back, it'll be so easy to clean, it'll blow your mind. Another small tip, if your toilet brush has one of those tube containers, I usually pour a mixture of water and bleach in that so that whenever I'm done, after I've rinsed off the brush and I've tapped it out in the toilet, I can stick it in that bleach mixture and it will continue to sanitize the toilet brush and not be disgusting. However, if you do that, make sure you dump that water out every week and replace it with new bleach water. And again, that ratio is typically 1 teaspoon of bleach per 1 cup of water, mainly because chlorine evaporates really, really fast. And so it'll sanitize for the first little bit that you have that brush in there, but over time the chlorine will just evaporate into the air and all you'll have left is water. And really kind of the last thing that I like to do is give a quick scan over my house and find things that are out of place or little stacks of mail that are sitting on the kitchen table and consolidate all that together into one stack. I like to put mine away, but there are some stuff that I do need to have out, like tax forms and whatnot. So I will compile that all into one neat, organized stack and put it on the edge of my computer desk. I don't know what it is, but when you take a stack of papers that are just kind of scattered everywhere and you get those symmetrical and stacked on each other in a way that is organized instead of chaotic, it does something to your brain that I can't even explain. It just makes the stress melt. Try it out on your own desk. In fact, if there's an assignment I can give to anybody out there today, it would be take everything off your computer desk, wipe it down, and put everything back in a symmetrical way. Especially if you're a gamer. You know who you are, man. You know how you live. Take that crap off there, clean the desk, and put it all back in a nice, pretty way, and you will feel completely different. Now, so far, I've kind of preached the idea that if it doesn't need it, don't do it. There's one thing that we're going to do at least once per week, every time, whether you think it needs it or not, because it always does need it. And that is sweep, mop, and vacuum. That's also going to be the very last thing that we do, because once we're done with the floors, we're done with the whole house, and it just feels so good after you get it done. That's what she said. And people ask me all the time why I don't use just a vacuum on all my floors. There's a couple reasons. One, it just feels weird to me, and that is definitely a function of my autism. It's just a texture of a vacuum on a hard floor makes me creep out a little bit. But the other is that the vacuum doesn't get against the walls very well, and I don't want to take the attachments off to get the corners and stuff like that. A broom gets into all those things just as easy, and if you're not flipping dirt everywhere, it's not going to get airborne again. You're basically sliding dirt instead of flipping it. You're not using it like a hockey stick. You're more using it to pull dirt along. And though you don't have to do it in this order, I usually sweep first, then I vacuum, then I mop. That's just my personal preference. The way I see it is the broom is going to get the majority of the stuff. The vacuum's going to get all the fibrous stuff like rugs and carpets. And then if you happen to miss a little spot while sweeping, you can just kind of jut the vacuum out and get that little miss spot. But then mopping to me is like a final polish on the floor. So that's why I do that last. I mean, if you don't have rugs, you're going to sweep then mop anyway, because you don't want to mop a floor and then sweep it. That's weird, man. Don't be weird. I'm just saying that when you add in the vacuuming step, anyway, you get what I'm talking about. I'm rambling. Don't let me ramble. I'm not a rambling man. But really, that's all there is to it. And while you're watching me finish this stuff up, let me throw some stuff out there. I am currently trying to work on another house, but it's in the middle of BFE, out in the middle of the country. And the driveway is like a 1/4 mile long, and it is absolute slop. It's just like a swamp. It's got leftover ice, slush, potholes, mud, puddles everywhere, and it's to the point that I can't get my car down it without fear of getting my car hung up. So that's going to have to wait until that driveway dries before I can get back out there. But rest assured, there are more really dirty houses coming. I just had to stop this one this week because there's no way I'm getting my car stuck out there. Second thing is we're about to cross 700,000 within the next couple weeks. If you haven't subscribed yet, that's all I've ever asked for the channel, is to get the gold plaque. I just want the gold plaque because I think it's pretty and awesome, and I'd like to hang it on my wall. Also, whenever I get it, I've promised viewers that for at least one video, I'm going to hang it around my neck like a Flavor Flav clock, hang it on a chain. And for those of you who aren't YouTube savvy, the subscribe button is the one that doesn't cost anything. I do have a paid membership area where they get an extra live stream per week or an extra video per week, and there are 3 tiers to that one. That's just a way to help, give some extra monetary support to the channel. If you can't afford an actual membership, don't do that, please. I don't want you paying for something that you can't afford. But if you can, and you know how Discord works, or you need to look it up on Google on how to connect your account and all that stuff, that's where you can find me hanging out a lot, is on Discord, and Discord comes with your paid membership. But the absolute best thing that you can do to help the channel is just hit the subscribe button. That one's free, and it really, really does help us out here. I also do use my Instagram and Facebook, and if I get enough people on Instagram, I think I'm going to start posting some more shorter videos over there, but those are all linked in the description. One of the main reasons that I bring those up is you got a lot of people out there who try to steal my content and make fake accounts. I only have a few accounts on all of social media. I have YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and then I had TikTok, but I just stopped posting videos there and deleted all my videos because it was just a pain. So if you're following the ones that are linked in the description, you know they're real. Everything else is not. It's a fake account. I think that's important because I have had people tell me that fake accounts on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook have tried to contact their users and say, hey, I'm taking donations for my next clean. You can send it to this PayPal account. That is not me. I don't take donations for cleanings. If I ever do a GoFundMe or a donation thing, it'll be directly on my videos, and those things will be directly in the descriptions of those videos here on YouTube. I don't do those very often, maybe once a year. And on the rare occasion that I do those, it's because the circumstances are pretty extreme. But one thing I'll never do is DM somebody and ask them for money. If somebody's doing that, it's not me. You're getting scammed. Block those people, report them, and forget they ever existed. And while we're at it, before we go, let me give a shout out to 4 channels and give some shout outs to somebody who isn't me. So these are 4 channels that I really like watching. I watch them whenever I'm in bed and I'm calming down for the night, much of the way people do on my channel, or at least that's what they tell me. The first is Mom Likely. One of my favorite cleaners out there because she is a real life mom who just makes videos of her doing the things that she has to do anyway. She's so personable and so fun to hang out with. Just a great channel. All these will be in the description too, so you can just click the links to go straight to their channels. The next one is a very small channel called Nat Rob, and she does decluttering videos, again, in a very realistic way. Her videos aren't long. If you want to get in on the ground floor, the last I checked, I think she had around 3,000 subscribers. Most of her videos only get a few hundred views, and I think that she really deserves some more eyeballs. She's a great woman to watch. One that a lot of my regular viewers like and know about is Colleen Cleans. She's a little blonde powerhouse that does what I normally do, which is cleaning really bad houses for free, and she's just awesome. She goes in and tornadoes her way through the houses and cleans up some really extreme places. And the last one that I watch all the time is called The Fixer, and he does home repair. He shows how to build walls and destroy walls and paint walls and elbow walls. It's not all about walls, but he does pretty much everything you can imagine, from flooring to installing kitchens. And even if you are never going to do those things yourself, just watching somebody else do it with the calm, awesome personality that he has is just a wonderful show to watch. But all 4 of those deserve more eyeballs. They all 4 deserve your subscriptions, and I think you'll really love them if you give them a chance. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Again, if you want to see some of my really, really bad cleans and me going crazy on different places and you're new here, I have like 300 videos of me doing some really extreme cleanups, all of them for free. Members, I will see you this Wednesday. Everybody else, I'll see you next weekend. Later.